Hi, friends. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Christiana Gaudette. I am your Tarot Fairy Godmother, and I am here live on my YouTube channel for another free and fun tarot class. Today, we are going to do a tarot keyword boot camp. If you happen to be watching the replay, that's just fine too. Please leave any comments or questions, and I will get to them. I want to welcome Christine Pringle, who's here for the first time. Thanks so much for being here. And I want to say hello to everyone here and especially shout out our members. You know who the members are because their names are in green. These are people who make a monthly commitment to support this channel. If you're here for the first time, thank you so much for being here. Please do subscribe and please do hit that notification button so you will see when I schedule new events and when I go live. I am very grateful to see all of you here. Really appreciate you. All right, today we are here to talk about tarot keywords. Wherever you are in your tarot journey, whether you are a beginner, or intermediate, or even professional. And you know, we are always still tarot students. There's never a time when you're not a tarot student. Chriswell is celebrating his 9-month membership and says still a complete tarot newbie. Right. I mean, on some level, I think that's true for all of us in a way, right? So I want to start by talking about keywords and what keywords are. So first, I want to give you sort of a dictionary definition of the term keyword. It's a noun. It's a word or concept of great significance. So a keyword can also be a key phrase, okay? It can be a few words, right? So example, homes and jobs are the keywords of the campaign. Now, another definition, a word that acts as the key to a cipher or code. So if you're trying to break a code, you need the keyword to help you break the code. It is literally like a key. And I love that. I love that in code breaking and like secret agent spy stuff, the word keyword is used to break a code because in tarot, that's what we're all about. We're all about finding the secret message from the universe. We're all about deciphering the mysterious message of each card. And the keyword helps us do that. So let me get a show of hands. Just go ahead and say me or I do. Do you have keywords memorized for cards? Do you use keywords? How is that for you? Go ahead and say, I do, I don't. I'd love to hear where you're at with that. Are you in the process of memorizing? Let us know. Where are you at in your practice with keywords? Let us know. And as people are coming into the room, I want to welcome everyone, once again, because I see a lot of people just came in. And Christine says, no, should I? I don't know. Take the class and find out. Let me know at the end of the class what you think. Peggy Lou says, yes. Dora, you're quite welcome. Thanks for being here. Christine, learning more. Pamela, I do. Kim Morris, I do. Laura, I do. Dave, I try to. I know a printed keyword interferes with the art of the card, but I appreciate that. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Christina, I do. Angelic Michelle, I have a feeling associated with a card and then words. Fair. Key feelings. I love that. Peggy Lou, oh, this is important, everyone. Always learning new ones. Yes. That is the whole thing. Is, maybe when you get started, you have just one or two or a few or the ones that are printed on your beginner deck. but over time you learn more and more. Okay, let's see. Betty, keywords with most cards. Chrissy says for some cards. Kathy, I'm trying to link keywords to the cards, so new to it. DH for some. Ashriel, I sort of do. I see a card and the affiliated words and phrases instantly pop up in my head. Yep. Samantha, I do, but they're harder for me. Anna Luisa, I used keywords while learning, but not so much now. See, my guess is you're still using them, you're just not thinking about it, but they're there. Samantha, I have memory issues. I totally get that. Yep. And, so for you, you might really be going with the picture or with intuition. Mystics Haven, I don't really use keywords. Sometimes they seem limiting. Yes, we're going to talk about that. And Dora, it is difficult to follow keywords depending on the art of the deck. Yep. Chara, I live in chaos. I've been trying to learn keywords recently. And Claire, learning more. Right. Thank you for sharing all of that, everybody, because that really sort of gets us to where we're trying to go here. Hey, Zuri, nice to see you. All right. So where did tarot keywords come from? Tarot keywords have been with us for as long as esoteric tarot has been a thing. Now, when we think about, early decks, Italia first used keywords. The Crowley deck, there are keywords on the minor arcana cards, the Ace through 10 of the Crowley deck. So here we have the 10 of Wands as oppression. We have the 2 of Swords as peace, just printed down right there. And I really appreciate, the idea that the keywords can be limiting. In this workshop, we're going to talk about ways to use them that will not be limiting, but instead a springboard. Mystics Haven says, sometimes I do use ones that resonate, like the tower means freedom to me. Jenny, nice to see you. Sarah, nice to see you. I like to read both with keywords and intuition, depending on my mood and understanding of the cards. And what I would say is, why not both? Why not both at the same time? And, there are going to be times when you're going to say, every keyword and every classic interpretation I know for this card is not really what I want to say about it. What I want to say about it is this other thing. And this other thing is what's pertinent. And, if you're reading for someone else, they're like, oh my gosh, yes, that's huge. Yes. Okay, so then you did the reading, right? A reading is only as good as the truth it gives. And it doesn't really matter how you get to that truth, but you got to get to the truth. And so intuition will tell you what the card is saying. But once the card has said that, the possibility is always that it will say that again. And so you add that to your list of keywords, right? Dora, I want to say thank you so very much for the super sticker. Really, really appreciate it. Super sticker and super chats. These are ways you can support this broadcast, and I'm very grateful for it. Okay, let's see. Chriswell, still learning keywords in my new phone. Zenobia, who is ZL Palmer, I'm still stuck on following the book or keywords. And at some point I do say, I never say throw the book away. No, don't ever throw books away. But put the book to the side and just see what comes to you is a really good practice too. Sharon Saff, so nice to see you. I recently finished reading the book Secrets of the Waite-Smith Tarot. Great book. And the keywords they derived from the Golden Dawn were very helpful and gave room for intuition. Yes, absolutely. Yatsuri Shop. And it's also fun to stretch your imagination by learning new keywords and ways to view the cards. Absolutely. Why doesn't Toth have keywords on the majors and courts since they are all on the minors? You're gonna have to do a seance and ask Uncle Al himself. I do not know. Robin, Spiritual Journeys, so nice to see you. I've noticed that with more than one card drawn, it will depend on the story that the sequence is telling me. Sure. So, Novia, that's why I'm here. I need help. Yep. Thank you for using the members only emoji. Angelic Michelle's, I love the Joy de Vive Tarot, best LWB ever. And the app version has a keyword option. Cool. That deck has really helped me move forward in more learning. Hey, Joyce Wolf, nice to see you. Nancy, Aviva, so happy to see all of you here today. Thank you all so much. I won't call you all out by name because we got a lot to get through. This is a boot camp, for gosh sakes. All right, and so there are tarot decks like Q&E Tarot or this one, Tell Me Tarot, that are really meant for beginners. Nancy, welcome. Thanks for being here for the first time. I hope you consider subscribing and hit the bell so you get notifications. So some decks that are considered like beginners decks will have like a whole little classic interpretation on each card. And I'll tell you a story. I used to really frown on those. I did not like my students using them. And I told my students so. But I had a student who was using the Q&E Tarot, which gives keywords and classic interpretation for upright and reversed on each card. She was using it in secret. She was not telling me, but she was. And here's a woman who was coming to our local tarot meetup every month and wasn't really getting it. And then all of a sudden, she starts like talking about the cards like she knows what she's doing. And I said to her, wow, you know, it looks like you've really grown. What are you doing? How'd you do that? And it was using a deck with keywords and classic interpretations printed on it. So now I am a fan of the Q&E. That's the Quick and Easy Tarot from US Games. It shows the weight image with a good set of keywords and classic interpretations. The reason I wasn't a fan is something that's already been mentioned here. It's very limiting. But you got to think about it as a baseline and a springboard. And here's what I'm going to say. Well, I'm going to say many things, but here's one thing I'm going to say about keywords. When you meet a new person, you may notice something about them. Say you meet a guy named John, and John is very tall. So a keyword for John in your head is the tall guy I met at that party. So then you meet him again, and you find out he likes to fish. So now he's tall John who fishes. So those are all some keywords for John. Then you meet him again. You get to know him. You have a conversation with him. And you find out that he also has 2 kids. So now he's tall John who fishes who has 2 kids. And all of those things are keywords for that individual, for how you remember that individual. We all have keywords for the people we know. We all have keywords for the TV shows we like. In fact, we have keywords for everything. So why not tarot cards? Now, the other thing is that when we're learning tarot, we learn about associations. We learn about associations for the suits, how they're associated with the elements, the 4 elements. And we have keywords for the elements, don't we? Therefore, we have keywords for the suits. We learn that the cards are numbered, and we have keywords for the numbers. And so as we learn tarot, we come to understand that the keyword for the suit plus the keyword for the number can indicate what the card might mean. For example, let's look at the Ace of Cups. Now we know that cups is related to water. And what is a keyword for water? Let's say love. That's a keyword for water, not the only one, but it's one. And what's a keyword for 1, for ace? New beginning. Not the only keyword, but it's one. And so, new beginning, love, put it together. Your keyword for that card might be a new love relationship. Now, certainly there are multiple keywords, and that's why intuition always has to be part of it, right? Because your intuition is going to tell you which keywords are most appropriate. And someone had mentioned you got to read it with the other cards, right? Sometimes those keywords can kind of get read together as a sentence. Think about that, because some cards will very often act as like an adverb. How do you do something? Some cards are typically a noun. Some cards are more an adjective, a descriptor of how you feel or what's going on. Some cards might act as a person, a character, a proper noun. Some cards are a verb. And, I think that that'll change from reading to reading. But to have a sense of how those cards are behaving in any given reading will help you do the reading. Okay. Chriswell, fountain and bird bath. I don't know where you're going with that. Help me out. Help me out. Help me out. All right. So I'm just looking through the comments. Okay. So where else do we get keywords? Now, astrology is filled with keywords. There are keywords for planets, for signs, and astrology is connected to tarot as well. So that helps us as well. You know what else has keywords? Tarot spread positions. In a way, you could say that the name of the spread position is a keyword to help you give context to the card. So there's that. So the question is, Ace of Cups. Well, I mean, when you talk about the image, okay, when you talk about the image, once in a while, you'll see something in the image that is literal. This is literally what's happening. That can happen. But I think we often, sort of think of tarot as being more metaphoric. And so when you think about, okay, Ace of Cups, fountain, bird bath, how is that metaphorically a description of the Ace of Cups? Well, the Ace of Cups can be the high vibration of unconditional love, which is always flowing like a fountain. The Ace of Cups can be an act of service, like a bird bath. So, sure, absolutely. Okay, so back to the memorization thing. And this is where people get hung up. So Samantha had mentioned, working with keywords is hard because it requires memorization. And I would make the argument that, not every reader is going to be good with flashcards or drills to remember key words for each card. That may not be the way that it works for most of us. It certainly didn't work that way for me. Keywords did not help me learn tarot that way. And I will also say very clearly, that a tarot reading is not the reader iterating a series of keywords and classic interpretations. That is not a freaking tarot reading. And this is where, like, you say, well, I'm still on the book. Okay, fine. Be on the book. Be on the book for as long as you need to. But you look at the card, you read the book, and then you give the reading. The reading comes from reading the book, the keywords, the interpretation, your own feeling, your own intuition, how you feel about the image, and how you extrapolate that to make a pertinent reading. Dave, keywords serve as the door to understanding that card and its meaning and interpretation. Right, exactly. Okay, Claire, you get like 10 points. Claire C., so nice to see you. You get 10 points for using a word I can't understand. I do not know the meaning of this word. Kinetheric? Define, please. I'd love to learn a new word. Robin, I've remembered the cards much better when you gave a lesson on the story the cards are telling from ace to 10, king, etc. Criswell, the engineer, and me being far too literal. Yeah, if you're that literal, you might do really well with Lenormand, truly. So, what Robin says is seeing the stories in the cards was what was helpful for her. And that, in a way, uses keywords as well. If you think about, well, with the ace, we're beginning our story. With the 2, we're looking at where we are and picking what path we're going. With the 3, we are dealing with the results of that path. With the 4, we come to a place where we can kind of stop and be comfortable for a minute. With the 5, as we come out of that, we come to a place of discomfort and conflict. With the 6, we come into a place of victory. With the 7, we come to a place where we're going to need to make a stand for ourselves. With the 8, we're back in motion. With the 9, we're in a place of fullness. And with the 10, we've almost come full circle. There's like a completion. And so you can do that really with each suit and be maybe even a little much more, well, not even maybe, be more specific as you look at it with each suit. Hey, Katie, thanks for being here. We're glad you're here. All right. So another thing to think about, show of hands, man. How many people have had problems figuring out court cards? The court cards, in a way, can be the most squirrely of the cards because they're so versatile. They can mean so many things. But the court cards become much, much easier to remember, understand, and interpret if you have keywords for each rank. Oh, kinesthetic means I learn through physical movement and gesture in addition to keywords. So does that mean sort of looking at what's going on in the cards and what the people are doing? And does that mean you do better with cards that are scenic rather than like a Marseille deck or a deck with like moody minors where they're not as scenic? Do you like to see pictures of people doing things? Is that part of it for you? Tortoiseshell Moon. I used to use Angel Tarot, Radley Valentine, and found that I stopped reading the card context and was just reading the keywords. Right. Good for flashcards learning, though provided the keywords resonate. Right, and that's the thing. You gotta, whether the keywords are printed on the deck or if you've memorized them, you've gotta go beyond the keywords. As Dave said, the keyword is the door. Sharon, squirrel. So yeah, lots of raised hands. Court cards are the most challenging for me. Yeah, lots of raised hands on that, sure. So I'm going to give you some keywords that are going to make it easier. Angelic Michelle, I agree that Radley Valentine Angel Tarot helped me with the court cards. It has the personality and meaning on the card. Oh, Claire, I actually like to move my hands, kind of like sign language. So you have hand motions for the cards. I love that. And like you can see some of that. Here we got some temperance going on. Here we got some 2 of Swords going on. Yeah, I can totally see that. That's beautiful. All right. So let me share with you, get ready to write this down if you would like. Let me share with you some keywords for the 4 ranks. Tortoiseshell Moon. I often confuse pages with aces in their meanings. Yeah, people do that. You're not alone with that. Let me break you of that right now. There's a similarity. And actually, okay, let me share this concept. I've shared this with you before. Venn diagrams. You know what a Venn diagram is? It's those overlapping circles, what things have in common. In the Venn diagram on pages and aces, there can be a sense of newness. But ace, keywords for ace: new beginnings, the start of a journey, the seed, the essence, the origin, the individual. Pages, here are keywords for pages: youth, communication, messages, learning, student. So there you go. So now think about that. So if it's a person, it's a young person or a person who is learning something, or it's telling you to learn something, or it's telling you to communicate something or to speak about something, or telling you that you will receive a communication. All right? So knights, also youth. And traditionally, pages youth feminine, knights youth masculine. I think more and more people are sort of not seeing that anymore and kind of getting away from that. And that's good in a world where we recognize there are more than two genders. And so, there's greater fluidity in the page and the knight now, I think, for a lot of people. Certainly for me, there always has been. And I like it that in the weight deck, the pages and the knights are very androgynous looking. And I really appreciate that. All right, knight, also youth, travel, traveler, pursuing, pursuer, pursuit. So the knight could tell you to pursue something, could say you're going to take a trip, could tell you to take a trip, could talk about a young person who is in pursuit of things, could talk about travel. Queens, your keywords are going to be feminine and nurturing, nurturer, nurturing. Kings, keyword masculine, leader, leadership, leading. And so the memorization of those keywords will help you a lot. Now, with the 4 elements, the suits, I think you really have to have keywords on that too. So let's get through some keywords on the suits, on the elements. We know that typically, not always, but typically, swords is air, wands is fire, cups is water, pentacles is earth. Pentacles might be called discs or coins. Wands might be called staves or batons. And there are some decks where swords and wands are shift. Dora, I also use changes for knights. I love that. Now see, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take that. I think it's brilliant. And I am adding it to my list of keywords. If I had a tarot journal, I might write it in my tarot journal. I have a pretty good memory for these things, so I'm just installing it in my memory right now. But if you don't have a good memory, you can just write it in your journal. Or movement. Yeah, see, I think that's brilliant. That's really good. And so now I'm going to add that to my list of keywords, and that's a way that our list of keywords will grow. We learn from each other. That's why it's so important for us to meet together in person, online, in groups large and small, at conferences like StarCon. Don't forget StarCon, coming up next January 2023. That's why it's so important that we do this, because we learn from each other and our tarot vocabulary grows. Just as with my mythical character, Tall John, each time you meet him, you learn something new about him, and you're not necessarily sitting there trying to memorize it. It just happens. Oh, I like this. Ashriel, knights are action. Oh, I love that. I'm going to add that as well. Okay, so pentacles. I said that in some decks, pentacles are called discs or coins. Now, you are asking me if money is a keyword for pentacles. It is, but so much else. So now let's look at the elements, and we'll start with pentacles, which is the element of earth. And Criswell, I see the four suits as the four main Wizard of Oz characters. So that's going to be Dorothy, Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow. So I'm guessing Scarecrow, air, Tin Man, water, Lion, fire, Dorothy, earth? No, yes. Just a guess. I don't know. But anyway. Um, so Chara for the Pentacles sees work. So here's what I'd like you to do. Tag it Pentacles or Earth and give me your keywords for Pentacles or Earth. We've got money, we've got work. I'm going to say resources. People will often say Earth or the Pentacles is anything tangible, anything you can touch, which, okay, that's something. But you know what else? It's all resources. It's all resources. And you can't touch all resources because there's energy, there's time. Those are resources, and those show up in Pentacles as well. So when we look at that, Claire says body, the physical body, your health. Absolutely. Absolutely. Terry, I don't know who you are or what you're talking about. But please let us know. Dora, what is concrete? And that's an interesting thing, right? Because like even what is not tangible can be concrete. Robin, health, sure, absolutely. So all of your Pentacles cards. Anna, what has long-lasting value? I like that. All of your Pentacles cards are going to have something to do with the element of earth, and the element of earth will have to do with resources, physicality, things of value, money, health, wealth, all of that. Health, body, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. All right. But remember, when we're talking about like concrete, what is concrete for Pentacles? Time, although you can't pick it up and touch it, is still concrete because 3 o'clock is 3 o'clock, and there it is. And that's when the train leaves. It's concrete. Oh, I got it. Criswell, I got it. Hallelujah. That's good. All right. So jobs, yes, your jobs. Now that's interesting too, because your jobs could also be wands or fire. It could go either way. Sue has a quality here. What is slow and steady? What is steadfast? Earth is steadfast. Absolutely. Ashriel, Pentacles, things that grow and yield dividends. Ooh, education, investment, finances. I love that. That's fabulous. All right, let's move on. Let's go to wands now, and let's say that for the sake of argument, wands is the suit of fire. It usually is, but not in every deck. All right. So wands, fire, what are your keywords? Oh, Betty, I love your keyword for Pentacles, security. Very good. Very good. Okay. So wands, we have fire. And fire is our inspiration, our motivation. Fire is our passion, our creativity. Fire is our sexuality, our humor, our anger. Fire is anything that burns within us. So go ahead and tag it, fire or wands. What are some keywords you have for fire or wands? Back to Pentacles, tortoiseshell moon. Pentacles, slow moving energy, growth, and potential. So that, it's an interesting question because that quality of time is an important thing, and especially with the Knight of Pentacles. Traditionally the Knight of Pentacles is slow. That's a fact. But are all the Pentacles slow? That's an interesting question, because if you look at the Two of Pentacles, there's like, you're going to have to go from one job to the other job pretty quickly. When we look at the Six of Pentacles, that giving may happen quickly. Although I think a lot of the Pentacles cards, there is a sense of slowness, some time. So Wands, and Nancy says for Pentacles, practical, sure. So Aviva, Wands, creativity, create. Tortoiseshell Moon, Wands, inspiration. Aviva, fire, inspiration. Angelic Michelle, passion. Kyla's, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. Good to see you. Wands, passion. Betty, Wands, action and movement, right? Claire, fire, passion, spirit. Aviva, so with the Wands, work that we're passionate about, motivated to do from within. There can also be, just the motivation. Okay, so that's an interesting thing, because like Pentacles, we need the money, but Wands, motivation, and sometimes the motivation is just to get the money. So there can be some crossover. Like, for example, the Three of Pentacles has a creative element to it that's a little fire-like, that's a little Wands-like. The Nine of Wands has a jobby job element about it that's a little Earth-like. There is crossover. Let's see. Joyce Wolf, nice to see you. Growth, movement for the Wands. Claire, Wands are what is hot. Ashriel, Wands, zest for life, yeah. Tortoiseshell Moon, Wands, strength, ambition. Ambition is a good word there. Spirituality, yes. Chriswell, Wands, quest driven, the impossible dream. So thinking about Don Quixote, and that sense of being driven to do something, even something difficult. Robin, Wands, goal oriented, sure, sure, sure. And so when we think about these elemental keywords, suddenly you have a keyword for 14 of the cards right there, right there. And then if you have keywords for the numbers, you've got a starting ground. You really do. So let's move on. Let's move on to water and cups, and go ahead and again tag it water or cups. And Nancy says about Wands, action. Yep. Go ahead and tag it water or cups. And, I think so often with the cups, we think about love, but it's really all feeling, all emotions. It's flow, it's fluidity. And so even though we think about creativity with the Wands, there's a little crossover with the cups, because the cups can be dreamy and poetic. The cups can be about all relationships, our family relationships. Dana, for whatever reason, Wands is the most difficult suit for me to interpret. So, you know where I'd want to go with that? If you've got a card or a suit that's specifically hard to interpret for you, there might be an interpretation there about yourself. Do you question your own motivation, or do you have a hard time being motivated? Do you not see yourself as a creative person, or have a hard time accessing your creativity? Do you not feel vital? Do you have health issues? That's another word I really like for fire and Wands, is vitality. And none of that may be true. It's just always something I wonder. The other thing about the suit of Wands is there's so much. There's a huge difference between sexual attraction, determination, motivation, spirituality, anger, and humor. All of those are Wands, and it's wide. There's a lot of variety there. So that can be another reason why it's difficult, certainly. So Dora, for cups, intuition, sure. Pamela, family connections, relationships. Angelic Michelle, cups, emotional flow. Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. Ange, nice to see you. Emotions. Dave, water changeable with a question mark, perhaps. Tortoiseshell Moon for wands, courage and resilience. I love that. Betty, cups, spiritual experiences. So interesting. Because a lot of people will see wands as very spiritual. There's a lot of crossover here, and that's okay. Aviva, cups, fluid emotions spilling over of feelings. Angelic Michelle, cups, emotional flow or overflow. Dana, I do have difficulty with feeling motivated the way others appear to be. So for you, Dana, and for anyone else who has like a particular suit that's difficult, an interesting piece of magic and healing might be to really sit with those cards and study those cards and embody those cards and see how you can make friends with them. And see if doing that may help you access some of that energy within yourself. Pamela for cups, intuition, tortoiseshell moon, cups, healing and cleansing. Cheryl, nice to see you. Cups, love, love, love. Nancy, fluid. Peggy Lou, cups, intuitive. Cartomancer Magazine, nice to see you. Cups, the dream world. Claire C, good question. Are cups the containers, vessels, or what is contained? I would argue sometimes both, either or both, and that's a great question. I love that. I love that. Okay, let's move on to air and swords. And go ahead and tag it air or swords. And let's see what we got there. For me, I see it as the powers of the mind. That's the intellect or lack thereof, integrity or lack thereof, communication or lack thereof, technology, curiosity, discernment, wise decisions or lack thereof. And that's why the swords cards can be a little difficult. So go ahead and tag it swords or air and let us know what you see there. Angelic Michelle, swords. This suit feels like it's logical, but with some pain. And yeah, it's a fact that in most decks, the suit of swords, you look at that 3 of swords, that 8, 9, 10 of swords, those are some difficult cards. But that's because the truth hurts, lies hurt more, communication is hard, lack of communication is harder. Those things are difficult. So we've got from DH Thoughts, from Ashriel Swords, Logic and Reasoning. Betty Flusher, Swords, Truth. Kyla's, I love this one, Clarity. Robin, Knowingness, I love that. Nancy, Intellectual. Barrett, so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. So, I know, Picard is so awesome, right? So, having these keywords, and so anyone who said that they don't work with keywords, if you have these keywords for elements and you work with the elements, then you do indeed work with keywords. Now, Cartomancer says, active mind, quiet mind. Dora, yeah, I don't specifically associate swords with conflict because, yes, there's conflict in all the suits. Look at all the 5s. I associate conflict with 5, but even that conflict is really the conflict that comes from growth, in my opinion. All right. So we've talked about keywords as a way of learning. We've talked about keywords where you're getting to know, where you don't have to memorize, you're just getting to know. And so you're always growing. We've talked about keywords within Venn diagrams. We've talked about how we put keywords together using the keywords of spread positions and the keywords of cards surrounding to make a complete reading. We've talked about the idea that there must be intuition here to extrapolate from keywords and classic interpretations, whether memorized or read, into an actual reading. And we've talked about keywords for numbers, ranks, and elements. Cheryl, swords, deep thinking or not enough thinking. So now I'd like to talk about keywords for specific cards. Barrett says reverse swords could be overthinking. Sure. So let me ask you, which card do you personally, like, go through your deck, and which card do you find confusing? When you look at your cards and you can sort of say, yeah, I have a sense of this, I have a sense of this, I have a sense of this. Which one do you get to where you say, yeah, no, I don't have an understanding of this. And while you're getting some of those cards in the list, and we'll play with those, I want to talk about, okay, so if we have keywords printed on a card or keywords that we've memorized or keywords that are in a book, how does that help us? Well, when you're doing a reading, you might try to use that keyword in a sentence. This is what's happening. You have too much of this or you have too little of this. You might look at the keyword, look at the picture, breathe, and think about what comes to your mind next. Again, use it as a springboard. Okay, let's see. So, Robin, thank you for that very much. Robin likes Tarot Tour Guide. If you want Tarot Tour Guide, or I've got a list of helpful links right in the description. Go for it. Okay, so we've got a couple of requests here. We've got the Six of Swords. So Aleister Crowley calls the Six of Swords the card of science. And I really like to look at the weight pictures and the Crowley keywords and say, huh? Because if you put it all together, it starts to make sense. Look at the swords of logic and truth floating in a way that they never would. You would never carry swords in a boat like that. Floating over water, which we know is emotion. This reminds us that logic over emotion will cause us to sail towards smoother waters. Science is all logic, no emotion, scientific method. So this is a card that may say, okay, we're sailing towards smoother waters. But how are we doing that? We're doing that by employing logic and making logical decisions. That's what I have to say about that. Okay. Okay, very good. All right. The Queen of Swords, you find confusing. Card and Craft Academy, yay, the link for that is right there in my description for this class. Okay, the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is stalking you. So let's look at the Queen of Wands in the weight deck. I'm looking for her. And we remember that queens are nurturers. And it may be a sign simply for you to nurture your inner fire. If you're not feeling well, you have to take care of your health and nurture your vitality. The Queen of Wands may tell you to do that. The Queen of Wands may tell you to nurture your spirituality. The Queen of Wands may tell you to nurture your creativity. The Queen of Wands tells you to stoke your inner fire. Now, the Queen of Wands is eluding me right now. Where is she? I can't find her. The Queen of Wands is pictured with a black cat in the weight deck, and that is meant to indicate her intuition. So there is this thing about psychic development with the Queen of Wands. So if she's stalking you, she may tell you to become that, to become the person who nurtures their inner fire. What are you on fire for? What do you burn for? The Queen of Wands wants you to discover that, wants you to figure that out. Now, in a reading, the Queen of Wands could simply be a woman, could be a warm woman, an intuitive woman, an angry woman, a woman born under a fire sign. But if she's stalking you, she's probably telling you that you need to figure out where your fire is and to find your inner fire, whatever's going to burn within you at this time. It might even be what's pissing you off and working to solve that. It might be that. All right. Okay, Dana, the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands, I really like to look at the Two of Wands in the context, like right there between the Ace and the Three. And one of the reasons that the Two of Wands is so confusing is that someone somewhere said about the Three of Wands, well, are the ships going out or coming in? What's really happening in this picture? And honestly, interpret cards and understand cards whatever way they tell you to. And when I say they, I mean the cards themselves, not we who write the books. But I would look at the Ace of Wands as that spark of, oh my gosh, I have this great inspiration to do the thing. And then we have the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands is like, okay, I'm looking out over the horizon. I'm looking, all that world is right there, but I'm not looking at it. I've got the world in my hand and I'm looking at that. How am I going to put my plan into action? What are my dreams? What are my dreams for my world? How am I going to make something happen in my world? This to me is one of the ultimate cards of manifestation. It is all about your dreams, your plans, your goals. So you start with that Ace where you have the idea, the inspiration that, oh my gosh, I really want to do this. I'm really passionate about this. I want to create this. But this is the card of, okay, how are you going to do it? That cogitation. How in the world am I going to do this? What are my dreams? What are my plans? What are my goals? Now, some people then would say with the Three, and now we set it into motion and see what happens. I, with the Three, sort of say, and it's been set into motion and it's successful. I see success in that card. Not everybody does. So I hope that helps. Okay. So, tortoiseshell moon, I confuse the 5 and 7 of swords. Very different energies in my mind. So, keywords. Let's play with keywords here. 5 of swords, your keyword, battle. There's a battle. And there is a battle with a clear winner and a clear loser. In my opinion, this card does not say whether you're going to be the winner or the loser. It says, man, if you engage this battle, you better fight to win because someone's going to, so it might as well be you. Now, the 7 of swords is the Thieves card. The 7 of swords is about dishonesty, mistrust, or trust issues. And sometimes the 7 of swords will come up to say, there's actual dishonesty here. And the 7 of swords can talk about things that are hidden thieves. Cancer, COVID. It was my COVID card at the beginning of the pandemic because it just came in and stole everything from us and you couldn't tell. Where is it? Where's the COVID? It's somewhere here. But the 7 of swords can also say that you don't trust yourself or that you have trust issues. The 7 of swords can tell you that you need to be a little crafty to get something done. So it's not like there's always dishonesty here, but there's always going to be a little sneakiness, a little craftiness, or some trust issues. Okay, Angelic Michelle, the Chariot is also difficult for me. So the Chariot is so interesting because it's the end of the first 7 numbered cards A primary key word is mastery. And we'll get back to the chariot in just one moment. We want to say thank you so much to the Cartomancer magazine for a super sticker. Really, really appreciate that. And if you don't know the Cartomancer magazine, please do check them out. Get a subscription. If you love tarot, if you love this channel, you should. You really should. It's worth it. All right. The chariot. So the chariot is about mastery. And think about like how, well, this is a very American thing. How it felt when you got your first car, or how it felt when you got your driver's license. That sense of accomplishment, that sense of mastery. That's in the chariot. There is also a sense of travel, transportation, and very literally your car. The chariot can literally be your car or your ride somewhere or your mobility. But what's interesting is there's this sense of opposites having to pull in unity to get somewhere. And so there's this larger thing within the chariot about how you have to move, you have to put opposites together to go forward. And that's hard, but it's something politicians need to learn. It's interesting because the chariot is Cancer, which is water. But there's something altruistic there, and the chariot has a sense of heroism as well. And so the chariot can come up to say, mastery, you've done a good job. The chariot can come up to say, remember, in order to move forward, you need that balance. The chariot can come up to say, it's time to buy a new car, or you're going to go on a trip. Cartomancer, a touch of Crowley. Yeah, I do. I put a sprinkling of Crowley in. I'm not a Crowley reader, but I do keep my Crowley deck handy because you can learn from it. Okay. So Dora, in the Six of Swords, the decision to leave comes from the mind. In the Eight of Cups, it comes from the heart. So that's so interesting. And I love that. I think that's beautiful. But with the Eight of Cups, you could also be the one who was left, who was abandoned. The Eight of Cups can also be that process of healing from that sense of abandonment. Barrett, the Hanged Man is stalking you. Why is that, my friend? Angelic Michelle, does the chariot ever lead toward a decision? It sure could, or a choice. It sure could. Do you want to buy the red car or the blue car? But yeah, it could. Absolutely. Pamela, chariot is allowing a person to have freedom being in the driver's seat. Right. It's your choice. That's where choice comes in. You're in the driver's seat. You choose where you go. Tortoiseshell Moon echoes that too. Chariot is regaining the reins, regaining control of your situation. Right. And so, again, using keywords does not mean you're not using your intuition. And here's a great exercise. I'm going to give you this exercise. You're not going to have time to do it here. So just write down what the exercise is. Pick one card at random and then make a list of every keyword you can think of for that card. Do not interpret it for you. Just make a list of every keyword you can think of for that card. Then go through and cross out the ones that don't apply to you right now. One thing that is very true in tarot is that in a reading, a card can mean more than one thing at the same time in the same reading. And so keywords can be very divergent, a whole bunch of different keywords. The Page of Cups can be your daughter, your cat, a message of love from one in spirit, or can be telling you to talk to the person that you love. but maybe all of those are true at the same time. And so try that exercise. Robin, I want to thank you so much for the very generous super sticker. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. My friends, we have come to the end of our time together. I appreciate all of you being here. If you're watching the replay, I appreciate you. If you have questions or comments, please do leave them. Please like this video. It helps me a lot if you like this video. So please do like this video. Members, we have a members only class coming up this Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you're a member, be there or be square. If you're not a member, consider membership. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, take that first step and please do subscribe. I want to say thank you so much to Laura S. for the very generous super sticker. That is very kind. Thank you all so very much. Please do check out my links in the description and feel free to reach out to me. I am so grateful to all of you for being part of my worldwide tarot community. Thank you so much. Tortoiseshell Moon, thanks for staying up real late to hang out with us. Thank you. Thanks to all the members. Members, join us for members only class Monday. Remember, if you're a member, the members only playlist will have links for the upcoming members only classes and also members only videos for you. So I hope to see you then. Tomorrow, I'll be back at noon Eastern time for your Friday weekly wrap up. I'll look forward to seeing you then. Thank you all so very much. I appreciate all of you. Have a great day, night, evening, morning, whatever it is where you are. Thank you so much. Take good care.